Live from our Tasmanian headquarters, this is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Police believe they may have found the body of missing ooze man Trevor Foster, who was swept away in rapid flood waters 2 years ago. The discovery was made on a property 15 kilometres from where Mr Foster was last seen. If confirmed, it will bring closure for a community in mourning.
These were the sheep Trevor Foster was trying to save when he was swept up in rapid floodwaters almost 2 years ago. A large-scale search operation at the time was unable to find the 81-year-old. Today, police say they've located a body which may be the missing man.
From clothing worn from Mr Foster when he was taken and clothing that was obtained from the body, that we believe that may indicate that it is Mr Foster.
The body was found on private property at Ellendale, more than 15 kilometres from Ooze, where Mr Foster was last seen. Remains spotted by a farmer at the Meadowbank Lake last night, an area previously searched by police.
It's believed that roadworks are being conducted in the area and they required water from the dam, and the dam level was lowered, and that has actually uncovered the remains.
A forensic examination now underway to confirm the identity of the body. Police making contact with the family today at the Foster's Clyde Street residence.
It's been a struggle of anxiety for the family, Mrs Foster, the family and the community. It's been very hard for everyone.
One family member told Southern Cross it will finally bring closure after agonising uncertainty. Mr Foster, a well-respected man heavily involved in the community.
He's an all-round farmer, member of the community. People just love him.
During its peak, the river rose by 6.7 metres. It completely submerged the riverbank behind me, with the floodwaters lapping the bridge in the home of Mr and Mrs Foster.
It was a tragic event at Ooze, and one that'll be in the memories of those who live there for the rest of their lives.
The unknown chapter of the devastating 2016 floods now likely to close. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A man has died after crashing his motorbike near a primary school in the state's northwest this afternoon. The incident occurred on Grant Street in Smithton soon after 3 o'clock. The road is expected to remain closed for several hours while the crash is investigated. No further details are available. A legal stoush is imminent between the state government and operators of the Basslink cable. The Energy Minister has written to Basslink Proprietary Limited demanding compensation for damages caused by the cable fault in 2015. The government doesn't accept the assertion by Basslink the cause of the outage was unknown, citing expert reports the cable was put under excessive pressure. Basslink has been given just days to agree to compensation before legal arbitration begins next week. In another blow for the state's health system, the Launceston General Hospital has lost its emergency medicine training accreditation. Doctors fear if the issue isn't resolved before next year, it will have a major impact on the hospital and its ability to attract new staff.
The state's health department trying to cope with another recruitment emergency.
This has been seen as a risk for some time now, and that risk hasn't been acted on.
The Australasian College for Emergency Medicine blames a lack of specialists at the Launceston General Hospital as the reason why it suspended the facility's emergency medicine training accreditation. Unless resolved, the suspension will take effect from next year, meaning doctors who want to train to be ED specialists will no longer be able to in Launceston.
It doesn't particularly change our service delivery, but it makes recruiting to our positions, both at the registrar level and even the specialist level, much more difficult.
What this says is that now there's a perception that the hospital is not a good environment for training staff.
The accreditation loss comes just days after fed-up Launceston nurses launched industrial action, campaigning for more beds on wards to ease emergency department pressure.
The fact that it coincided with the launch of the industrial action by ANMF members here is really concerning and again highlights that there are significant challenges in the LGHED.
I'm very concerned about this and disappointed to see the withdrawal occur.
The Health Minister says the state government is now fast-tracking the creation of a health recruitment unit to help employ extra staff.
This is about producing a special unit that's never been done before in Tasmania, which will ultimately result in a 20-year health workforce plan.
For the hospital to regain its emergency training accreditation, it needs at least 5 full-time equivalent specialists working here in the ED. The AMA says that's 2 more than we currently have. To fill the positions, doctors are now asking for better incentives.
In the ballpark, it needs to be better than the hospitals that Melbourne are offering.
I am interested in the notion of what more we can be doing to provide competitive arrangements.
Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Just a day after being officially sworn in, Tasmania's new cabinet is getting down to business. Today's first cabinet meeting handing over the government's election manifesto to the Department of Premier and Cabinet. Work will now begin on the government's 100-day plan, including the drafting of new legislation. It includes promises made on tax relief and capping electricity prices, also revising legislation on the Taswater takeover. Mona has revealed its next major exhibition, Zero. It will include installation-based exhibits using light, reflective materials and moving parts. Zero is based on a movement that started in post-war Germany, which has served as a major influence on contemporary art.
The works in various ways kind of have this sensation about them and do these strange things with, optical things, and so it's really, people really love it and can kind of throw themselves into it.
Zero opens in early June, just before Dark Mofo. And TMAG is celebrating Tasmanian history in a new exhibition, 10 Objects, 10 Stories. The items are sourced from across the state, showcasing our diverse history.
TMAG staff were today putting the finishing touches on their latest exhibition, showcasing 10 unique objects from smaller collections that have a story to tell about Tasmanian history.
A lot of these wonderful items are often tucked away in small museums that aren't always on the main road, and so it's an opportunity to put them in the spotlight for a short period of time.
It includes a pocket fob watch chain medal from King Island, the old Hobart Railway departure board, and a gown from the East Coast Heritage Museum. It belonged to colonial writer and artist Louisa Ann Meredith.
It was first made in about the 1770s, 1780s, and would have come out with the Meredith family in the 1800s.
Also on show, a recording of Alec Campbell, the final surviving Australian participant of the Gallipoli campaign.
It is really important because that's your first-hand experiences that you don't get when you're reading it or when you're seeing even pictures of it, to actually listen to the voices of those that went through it.
The exhibition opens to the public tomorrow. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Young Tasmanians are taking the plunge to learn life-saving skills and beach safety. The High School Surf League kicked off at Kingston Beach today as part of events across the state.
Despite the icy wind, these high school students were out of the classroom and in the water, competing in games and events, as well as learning valuable skills.
So far, my friends have competed in beach flags. I've done the beach relay and done a couple of warm-ups and things like that on the beach.
These events are really good grounding events just because it makes you feel more comfortable in the water and makes you feel more comfortable around the life-saving community, just because it means that you get the feel for how the community, how the community runs.
Surf Life Saving Tasmania was involved in 152 rescues in 2017 and continues to raise awareness on preventable drownings. With RIPS being the leading cause of incidents, the importance of educating young beachgoers is vital.
If we can get them comfortable in that environment, get across some key safety messages, then it's really important that we can help trying to reduce that drowning fatality rate that we're seeing right around the country.
So far I've learnt that you use the beach a lot rather than the water, and there's a lot more to surf life saving than just watching over people as well.
A fun day with a serious message. Ruby Kamain, Southern Cross News.
A lobby group for school children with disabilities says it was gobsmacked to be left out of consultation over reforms to education funding. The group says it's advocating for a school funding model which better responds to the needs of students with a disability. However, the Education Department has now offered to do more consultation across the state after the issue was made public this morning.
In the end, that's a good result, but it should never have come to this. The consultation should have been better organised. We should have been included from the beginning because there are a lot of parents who want to get their views across so that we can make sure that we get this model right.
The Tasmanian Disability Education Reform Lobby has been active for more than 7 years. Tasmania's immunisation rate is on the rise, with 94% of our 5-year-old children getting vaccinated. Tasmania is above the national average for immunisations, with a growth of about 1% each year. In 2016-17, just over 370 Tasmanian toddlers weren't fully covered, with the south east coast having the least amount of children vaccinated. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed lower after the US Central Bank lifted interest rates and forecast 2 further hikes in 2018. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 13.1 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 77.49 US cents and 62.71 euro cents.
Welcome back. Tasmanian Tigers captain George Bailey is preparing for a good batting wicket in tomorrow's opening day of the Sheffield Shield final. The side goes into the clash against Queensland as the underdog, despite a bullish second half of the season. He's close enough to touch the biggest trophy in domestic cricket, but the Sheffield Shield couldn't have felt further away from George Bailey this time last year.
It's a bit of a dirty word, final.
From one outright win last season to a record of 5 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses in 2017-18. It's a turnaround fit for a fairy tale if the Tigers can turn it on.
I think the Duke ball will swing up here regardless of how flat the wicket is, but the history of Shield finals would suggest that it's going to be a pretty good batting wicket.
The side's elder statesman, 35-year-old Bailey, is chasing his 4th Shield title. He'll need all players firing tomorrow. Queensland has been the thorn in Tasmania's side, the only state the Tigers haven't been able to overcome this season.
We have had a good history against them the last few Shield games, but look, we're preparing as we have the whole way through this year and years before. And again, they're a good side, so it's going to be a really good game of cricket.
Closer to home, another final is taking place. The Cricket Tasmania Premier League decider sees North Hobart going for its first title in 8 seasons.
Very proud club, and especially after losing the grand final last year, we're very hungry.
The side comes up against top place Clarence, who has defeated North Hobart in all 3 encounters so far this season.
We've played some really good cricket this year, really nice positive brand of cricket which has been good, and against North Hobart a couple of times we've certainly got the wood over them.
The match kicks off at Blunston Arena tomorrow. Tassie cyclist Nathan Earl has ground to make up in the Tour of Catalonia in Spain. Earl is sitting just over 2.5 minutes behind tour leader Thomas de Gent after stage 3. The 29-year-old is back in action tonight for the 170-kilometre stage 4 in the Pyrenees. Athletes have begun crossing the line in the Extreme XPD expedition race on Tasmania's east coast. Since Sunday, teams of 4 have been hiking, cycling and kayaking a mammoth 500-kilometre course through rugged parts of the state. Just before midnight last night, the winning team, Tri-Adventure Antelopes, made it home to St Helens in a time of 84 hours and 45 minutes. Another 70 competitors are still making their way around the course.
Good evening. Hobart 17 today, Launceston reached 19, Burnie 18 and Devonport 20 degrees. 22 the high at Strawn, and apart from the west, temperatures below average. King Island 21, Flinders 20, Smithton and Low Head 19, Friendly Beaches 18 today, Grove and Ooze 17, Lyowini a high of just 9. Low-level cloud crept over the state from the west today and was widespread by late this afternoon. On the bigger picture, the cloud over the New South Wales and Queensland coast is the result of onshore winds emanating from a high, and we can easily see the cloud with Marcus off Western Australia. Tomorrow the high slips away to the southeast, troughs lie over central and Western Australia, and the severe tropical cyclone is still there in the picture. The wind's mostly northeasterly and at 15 to 25 knots over the south and east, stronger over the north but light winds over the inland lakes. Strong wind warning there for waters between Sandy Cape and Flinders Island and from Tasman Island to South East Cape. All the cricket finals start around the state tomorrow in the Premier League. We've got Clarence up against North Hobart, partly cloudy, but things might be a bit different for the weekend. 21 in Hobart, Huonville 21, 21 also for Campania. South Launceston take on Westbury with a possible shower starting the cricket in Launceston. 20 the top, 19 for Devonport, a few showers, and Georgetown a shower and 18 degrees. Burnie a top tomorrow of 19 with a few showers, Strawn mostly sunny and 21, windy a few showers and 19 degrees. And for the east, a few showers for St Helens, 19 the top, 19 also for Swansea with showers clearing, a morning shower for Port Arthur and 20. Here's the UV sitting at 6 right over the state. To the weekend, and as promised, rain extending statewide early in the morning before contracting to the northeast later, but much the same for Sunday with wet weather expected mostly everywhere. And on Monday, rain again easing from the north but increasing over the south. Further north, cloudy and 30 in Perth. Sunny conditions for Adelaide, Melbourne and Alice Springs. Showers continuing for Sydney and Brisbane. Warm and partly cloudy for Darwin.
Well, that's all from the team for now. Enjoy the football. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.